step, we'll stand by for the main deployment of the parachutes. The mains are quite a bit larger. You'll be able to notice the difference on your screen once they deploy, and they continue to ensure that the Dragon spacecraft slows down even further. As we mentioned, Freedom will be traveling 16 miles per hour when it splashes down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida, here at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time this afternoon. And there we go.
We have visual on 4 healthy mains.
That view was from inside.
Freedom copy.
That view was from inside one of the buckets where the parachutes are located. So we see a great view there of the reefing on those parachutes. And as those main parachutes begin to inflate fully, 4 beautiful, healthy mains. Now awaiting visuals of splashdown.
Freedom, 1,000.
We'll start to hear Commander Nick Hague.
Copy, 1,000.
As we heard right there, Commander Nick Hague will be calling out the altitude of the Dragon capsule from here on out. Landing in water is simpler and provides more margin against unlikely parachute issues. You can see those parachutes continuing to slow the Dragon capsule down.
And if you're just joining us, you're looking at
800 meters.
a live view of Crew 9. Just minutes away from splashing down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Splashdown 2 minutes from now at 2:57 p.m. Pacific. We do have 4 healthy mains really doing the job there. Just breathtaking views of a calm, glass-like ocean off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Crew 9 just minutes away from splashing down.
This is really such an incredible shot. That
Copy,
was
600.
That was a live view from our recovery vessel, Megan, which is stationed a couple miles away from the splashdown site. We can see the crew there using their restraints as resting places for their arms. They were just in space moments ago, so their arms were able to float freely.
400 meters.
This is a gorgeous bluebird day here that we have for the splashdown of Crew 9. It's incredible to think that the Dragon capsule just minutes ago was going over 17,000 miles per hour, and now gently coasting to a soft splashdown.
200.
Copy, 200 meters. Brace for splashdown.
As you can see there on your screen, continuing to monitor progress of the Dragon spacecraft. And we're going to stand by for splashdown, located in the Gulf of America, off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
And SpaceX Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Suni, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
It is an amazing, what a ride. I see a capsule full of grins ear to ear.
Oh, all right. So the connection is a little bit shaky when it comes to hearing from inside the capsule, but they are saying that absolutely everything seems A-OK. Those astronauts have made it back in one piece. They have landed now off the coast of Florida. I mean, it's an absolutely amazing sight. But I'm very pleased to be joined now while we wait for those astronauts to kind of almost be lassoed onto that rescue boat and then emerge by the father of the man who genuinely made all of this possible, actually. Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk's dad, Errol Musk. Errol, thank you very much. Tremendous to have you here on GB News. I mean, your son has done quite a lot of stuff. This, I imagine, is one of the more remarkable things.
Yes, well, yes, I think it's wonderful that they're back. It's absolutely wonderful. And, they could have come back 7 months ago. Elon offered to bring them back 7 months ago. So, the Biden administration wouldn't allow it because it looked too good for his opposition. So he kept them up there.
Yeah, so just explain that for our viewers and listeners, Errol. So, obviously these astronauts have been, stranded in space is a term. They're stuck in space, I suppose, another way of putting it, for 9 months. And Elon Musk offered before the election to go and bring them home using his SpaceX technology, and it was denied, right?
Yes, that's correct. He offered to bring them back 7 months ago. There was a slot available to bring them back, and the Biden administration wouldn't allow it because it looked too good for the Trump's campaign, And it's interesting, United Launch Alliance was given $5 billion to build their capsule. SpaceX was given $2.5 billion. SpaceX completed this in 2 years, and United Launch Alliance took 4 years. And in fact, their capsule, had the astronauts come back, it's not widely known, it did not come back safely. So it's just as well they didn't try and come back on that United Launch Alliance capsule.
How much credit
coming back.
How much credit does Elon deserve for this? As we're seeing now, wow, look at that footage. That capsule is being winched out of the water. How much credit does your son directly deserve for this? Is he a genius, or does he just have the money to surround himself with other geniuses?
No, he's an average Joe, That's a stupid question. No, he's pretty smart.
Well, where does he get it from, Errol?
I don't know. From above.
From above. Errol, I'm going to ask you to stay where you are, please. Thank you for this, by the way. It's great to have you on. Can we dip into the live commentary on this now, because that capsule has just got on the boat. So here we go.
Are completing final checks and stand by for translation to the egress platform.
Freedom copies.
Great news there, letting us know that Dragon Freedom has been successfully recovered from the water's surface. If you've just joined us, we had an on-time splashdown at 5:57 p.m. Eastern Time, and we can now see that the water recovery operations are continuing to progress. The nest where the Dragon spacecraft is located is going to get moved forward. This will happen after one of the recovery crew members does some checks, and we'll also see some hosing. Obviously, the spacecraft splashed down in salt water. Salt water is corrosive, and we want to try and rinse out as much of the salt water as possible to reduce that corrosion on the metallic structures. So we can see some guidance there being provided, really steering the spacecraft properly into the Dragon's nest.
All right,
it's been 30 minutes.
Let's bring back in Dr. David Whitehouse, space expert and author of Apollo 11, The Inside Story. Gosh, so these astronauts, they've been stuck in space for 9 months, and then they've come back. They've had to sit in the water there for the best part of an hour. They're getting winched onto a boat. I mean, they must be itching to get back out into the real world, surely.
Well, it will be difficult for them. They will have to be helped to egress the capsule because, as we've said, they've been in space for many, many months, and they will be suffering from the pull of gravity right now. They've already spoken in private on the radio to a doctor, and he's assessed their condition. But this is going to be quite difficult. I mean, they will obviously put a brave face on it, and Suni and Butch have done this thing before where they've returned to Earth after a long time in space. But it is a difficult thing. Every muscle in their body will be aching. They will need assistance, and when they make their brief appearance, when the capsule gets to the egress platform, they will presumably say a few things, or perhaps not, and then go straight on for a medical examination.
And just sorry to ask yet another stupid question here, Doctor. Is this the egress platform? Is this what we're looking at now? And they're just trying to just slot it into its base,
Yes,
is it? Yeah.
Yes, they have to bring it forward. As I think we heard say, they have to rinse it down because they don't want the salt water corroding things. They have to make sure it's not leaking propellant. A test which they did on the sea, but they have to do it again when it's on the platform. So they have to then make sure the capsule is lowered and stable. They then turn their attention to the hatch. So this is a methodical process, because this capsule, remember, has to keep the astronauts alive in space, but also through the re-entry from going from 17,500 miles an hour to 19 miles an hour when they splash down. So it's a tough shell with protocols and safety features that all have to be gone through before they bring the astronauts out.
Capsule into Dragon Freedom to help the crew members unbuckle and stand up, and essentially we'll also see a fun little slide be put in place to help the crew members exit the spacecraft safely. So yeah, we're going to remove all 4 of those footrests to basically give a little bit more working room inside the spacecraft.
That's right. And we did hear the go for that hatch opening, so we're just a couple minutes away from being able to see that. And then we might be able to get the chance to see a couple of views inside of the Dragon and see the crew following their splashdown.
Now, opening that side hatch isn't quite like opening, the door to your car. We have to depress the seal around the side hatch, as well as, we'll now see them open that side hatch up.
One of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. I don't know about you. If you're listening on radio, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Pull over your car, do whatever it is, turn your TV on and put GB News on, because this hatch is about to open. Here we go. We might be able to see the astronauts. There they go.
And there you have it. The side hatch is open for the first time since September.
These astronauts about to take their first gasp of fresh air for 9 months' time. Members of the SpaceX crew have entered the capsule. Presumably they're going to be checking that they're all right. Just to fill you in, the people who are in that capsule, the astronauts, have already had a conversation with doctors to confirm that they're okay. So let's see if we can get the first glimpse inside the capsule.
These photos will get saved into our procedure. We'll then install that protective frame around the side hatch. This helps to ensure that the side hatch itself, the edges of it, incur no damage while crew members are coming out from the spacecraft. If you missed it, there was also a recovery team member that went inside. So there are now 5 people on board the Dragon spacecraft.
OK, look, the connection is cutting in and out. Just stay with us here on GB News, because we're going to be giving you all the main points. But, wow, I've just received some details about the potential effects on the human body that being in space for that length of time can take on you. I mean, huge potential issues, including blood clots, reduction in bone density, poor digestion, cardiovascular function being reduced. So this is really quite a touch-and-go moment for the people who have been on board this capsule and stranded in space for so long. They are going to have to undergo a series of medical checks. They are not out of the woods yet. This is just the latest hurdle that they have to get over. Let's just check back in again, see what we can hear.
We'll probably see those footrests being handed out here in the near future, as I mentioned before. Oh, of course, we got to get a well-documented photo of the moment. Although we can't see it from here, I'm pretty sure there are 4 smiles on board right now.
And we did hear that report out from the commander, Nick Hague.
OK, let's reintroduce Dr. David Whitehouse, space expert and author of the Apollo 11 Inside Story. What we've just heard there, David, is 4 smiles inside that capsule. Good news.
I bet they're delighted to smell fresh air again because, remember, the International Space Station is a sealed can that's been sealed for 25 years and is visited by over 100 crews. So it smells up there. Even though your sense of smell is diminished in space, it's not fantastic. So fresh sea air, particularly on such a wonderful day like this, will be a welcome boost to their senses. But remember, their bodies will be aching and they will need help to, they've got to remove anything that's in the way of their egress, and they've got a slide which they'll be helped onto, and they will be slid out of it very slowly, helped all along the way, because their muscles will start to complain. They will actually be bruised and be somewhat black and blue in certain places, and they will have an uncomfortable time, although I'm sure they will smile for the cameras.
I mean, 100%. We just saw a cheeky little glimpse of them. That first shot back inside the capsule, all 4 of them waving. I'm trying to figure out what's coming out here. Now, can I just reintroduce Errol Musk, Elon Musk's father here. Remind ourselves that it is actually only because of Elon Musk's SpaceX that these astronauts are back here safely on Earth. Now, Errol, I'm assuming that these 4 astronauts are probably going to be giving a big thank you to Elon in about, I don't know, 5 minutes' time.
Yes, of course. I just want to say, while they're up in space, they do have to do exercising. And as a result, they're not entirely, without muscle when they return. There's a regimen of regular keeping muscles in shape while they are in space. The other thing is, you don't need 3 years or 2 years of training. If you're a relatively fit person, that is, if you made the B team at school or something like that, you're quite capable of doing one of these flights.
The ambition, Errol, that people, and I mean this with absolute respect, like you and I, can at one point in the future go to space as a matter of routine. Is that Elon Musk's ambition?
Yes, of course. It will be a routine thing. And as I say, although this has been a very long time, and the other gentleman is correct in some respects, but they have to follow a very rigorous training program in space to keep themselves fit for when they return to Earth. They don't simply let themselves fade away up in space.
All right, OK. Errol, thank you very much. Please stay where you are. Let's just check in with the NASA commentary quickly, I think. Let's just see what they're saying.
Standard procedure for all Dragon spacecraft flights that splashdown crewed, as well as for our Soyuz spacecraft that land in Kazakhstan.
Introduce Dr. David Whitehouse just to say to you that it's not the connection dropping in and out. It's just we are kind of at the mercy of NASA's commentary here, and sometimes they just stop talking, and we obviously can't quite guess when they're going to come back in. So we don't want to give you long periods of silence. Dr. David, forgive me for this. You mentioned something that I kind of glossed over before. You think it's actually going to be a bit grim in that capsule? You were saying that it actually is going to smell quite bad. It's not the nicest environment.
Well, yes, the space station, as I said, is a sealed can, and it's got lots of people living in it. You can't wash tremendously well. The hygiene is antiseptic, wet wipes. There are no showers on board, so yes, it's you do the best you can, and it does smell up there. But then again, your sense of smell is reduced when you're in space, so perhaps you don't notice. You feel. Some people feel as though they've got a permanent cold when they're in zero gravity. So that first smell of fresh air is what many returning astronauts really say tells them that they're home, and it's a welcome assault on their senses.
David, what's the procedure here now? So when they come out, they're going to be on this boat in the middle of the ocean. They then get taken? Do they get taken to Cape Canaveral? Do they have to get taken to hospital for assessment? When do they see their families? When are we thinking that there might be some kind of press conference? What's the procedure?
Well, it can vary from mission to mission. They may say something on the ship itself, but they will be taken down below decks to see a doctor where they will be assessed. They will need some rest. It's a couple of hours to take them back to the harbour where their families should be waiting for them. So it depends upon many things, but given the publicity around the return of Suni and Butch, that when they do return to Florida, there should be a lot of people there. So you can probably expect a press conference in a few hours, if not tomorrow. But bear in mind that, as Elon Musk's father said, although they take a lot of precautions to stay fit in space with exercise, with diets, with drugs, this is a considerable assault on their body. And when one American astronaut came back, he said gravity gets you down.
All right, David, think that I'm looking at some kind of stretcher going into this capsule now. Let's just see what the NASA commentary says. We might be seeing the first astronaut. Let's take it over to... Yeah, there we go. Go on, take it to NASA.
We can see folks on board clapping as our first crew member.
And that is NASA astronaut Nick Hague, commander of Crew 9, now out of Crew Dragon Freedom. Some smiles, thumbs up, and a wave. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah, that is one happy camper, that's for sure. As we said before, it is standard procedure for all of our long-duration crew members to receive assistance upon egressing from the spacecraft. We basically help them move off of the recovery deck and into the private medical quarters for their initial consultation with the SpaceX flight surgeon. So we'll see that take place for all 4 of our crew members today.
Well, there we go. The first astronaut has made it out safe and sound. I believe I might be able to take you, yes I can, to Per Wimmer, who is an astronaut and an entrepreneur. Per, thank you very much for joining us. Well, I mean, where to start? You've been through this yourself, have you?
Well, I've been through some of the training for this, but not on the Dragon. I'm absolutely delighted to see that they've come back safe and sound. It's been almost a textbook landing all the way, and it must be fantastic for them to put out their heads and breathe some fresh air again after 9 months in space.
And forgive me, Per, because as you can imagine, this has been a bit of a rolling news feed. So you yourself have been to space, I take it, or have you just been through the training, you were saying?
Yeah, I'm going up end of next year. So I've been through all the training, the centrifuge, the fighter jets, the Vomit Comet, getting ready for weightlessness.
Per, just pause it there for me, my good man. Very sorry about this. Take you back. We've got another astronaut coming out now.
Looks like we're getting some cheers and clapping on board as Alexander is slid down the little ramp and placed into the mobility aid. Again, big smile.
Okay, so Per, you might have all of this to look forward to. The 2 astronauts who've come out now, I don't think are Butch or Suni, the ones that were originally stranded. These are the ones that went up to help get them back, is that right?
No, that's right. There was Nick, the commander, who came out first, and then the Russian cosmonaut, Alexander, who came out just now. So we still have Butch and Suni just waiting. And obviously they've been a little bit the celebrities of this whole mission because they got stranded. But here they're going to come anytime shortly now.
Anytime now. Just the emotions that they must be feeling. Or maybe they don't feel emotions, but maybe they're so well trained. You would know. What would you think they will be feeling now?
No, this is emotional. It is definitely emotional. You cannot take that human element away. Imagine that, and in particular for Suni and Butch. I mean, Suni is 59 and Butch is early 60, 62, I believe. So, I mean, this is probably their last trip to space. I mean, who knows? Everything's possible, of course. But
well, they've got their money's worth, haven't they? They've got their money's worth. 8 days turned into 9 months.
Absolutely. Going for 8, 9 days and turn out to 9 months and having extra luggage delivered. I mean, imagine a holiday like that. You forgot some extra clothes or whatever. It all got delivered to the door. So no, they must be very emotional right now. It is a very big moment, and it's a completion of a very successful scientific mission.
Okay, well, pause that there, because if you are just joining us live here on GB News, you are about to see the two astronauts who, if they weren't household names before, certainly are going to be household names now, because they have been stranded in space for 9 months. They are finally about to come out of this capsule. The two astronauts who went up to help get them back, they've come out first. So we've got Butch and Suni who are about to touch down on deck. Let's just check in with NASA, see what they're saying, because I think I might be able to see a spacesuit there. So let's see what they're saying.
You know, just 5 years ago, when we were doing the initial demonstration missions of the Dragon for Crew Dragon, that now we're under about 30 minutes for to retrieve the spacecraft from the water, and just several minutes here while it's been on board, and to get everyone really to get that side hatch open. For those of you that have just recently joined, the Dragon had an on-time splashdown. It looks like we're getting our next crew member here. That is none other than Suni Williams. Big smile, big waves. She, like her other crew members, now will be assisted onto the mobility aid.
There we
Big
have it,
waves
some
there
waves,
from
some
Suni
waves.
Williams. After 9 long months stuck in space, finally makes it back out. It's great to see them looking so happy and waving. And I can already see you here now. Butch, 59 years old or 51, I can't remember now what our previous guest was saying, but probably their last space mission. Let's just see again. It's obviously, we are at the mercy of NASA's commentary here, ladies and gentlemen, so apologies about that, but he's 62 years old, apparently. Remarkable. Anyway, let's just see now if we can hear something from NASA.
We're getting some views of him now as he egresses or exits the spacecraft.
All right. Okay, well, I want to bring Per back in now. Now, Per, thank you very much for sticking with us there. So what will his body be feeling now, and Suni's body as well? Are they smiling through the agony, or are they all right, do you think?
They're all right, but it is a very different thing to come back to planet Earth again. First and foremost, they'll think everything is very heavy. You know, don't forget they would have lost quite a bit of their muscles. And their bones as well would have deteriorated. So they're not as strong as they were when they went up, and everything feels a lot heavier because they're used to zero gravity or microgravity. Also, what you notice as they came out of the capsule, there were two people grabbing them quite quickly by each side to make sure that they don't fall. Because when you come back to Earth, you can be a little bit dizzy, because the blood and the heart hasn't really adjusted just yet to be back on planet Earth. When you're in space, you tend to have more blood and fluid in the upper part of the body because the gravity is not pulling you down. The heart adjusts to that in terms of the heartbeat. And when you come back to Earth, you need to readjust back again. And that doesn't happen overnight. In fact, it easily takes some days and weeks to adjust to that, and therefore you got to grab them.
Dude, being honest with me now, being honest with me and my viewers and my listeners, you are conceivably going up to space quite soon. Does this not make you a little bit scared, the idea that these two have been stuck there for 9 months?
It makes me very excited, and I'll challenge you to find one single astronaut who will be disappointed to be stuck longer in space than originally anticipated. Astronauts want to be in space. That's what we're there for. We want to be there longer. So they're big smiles, and they happen to contribute a lot extra to the mission in terms of the scientific experiments that they did up there. So no, astronauts want to be in space. They have no complaints to file when they come back to Houston.